There are many times that I've done interviews for soulmusic.com where I begin by saying it's my pleasure or it's my honor or it's a privilege to welcome whoever it is I'm going to be speaking with. Well, I can say all of those things, but I can also add to that it's also so great to be talking to someone who I've had a wonderful association with going back to 1978 when we did our first interview, but whose music had been listening to for at least 10 years prior to that. And we've had many wonderful moments together, wonderful conversations together. And let me just say, by way of introduction, before I bring this incredible artist and musician to the phone, that it is really always a pleasure to have a conversation with someone as articulate, as clear, and as soulful as Miss Roberta Flack. So welcome to Soul
Music. Hi, David.
Welcome to soulmusic.com.
Thank you. It's a joy to be with you.
Okay. Well, of course, the immediate conversation we're going to have is about your brand new album, Let It Be Roberta. And let's start with the fact that this is the first entire album you've done that's in tribute to anyone or any songwriters or, in fact, any other musician or artist. So why did you choose the Beatles? That's the first question.
Well, of course, the obvious answer, the easiest answer is why not? They are composers of, I think, somewhere upwards of 1,088 songs, maybe more or a few less. But many of the songs are sort of stamped in the minds of everybody around the world forever, I feel. Mm-hmm. And they also have, many of the songs have universal messages. I feel that we're living in a time when music, which is its fabulous job anyway, has the responsibility of making people look at things 2 or 3 times, maybe differently, maybe try to find some meaning in the message of the Beatles songs. I always felt that the Beatles, as a group of writers, were very prophetic anyway, and I felt that they had been especially blessed as songwriters to be able to come up with such lines as love has a nasty habit of disappearing overnight. I thought, how could somebody as young as they are know really the depth of that statement, But then, of course, they do.
Yes.
Because love does have a nasty habit of disappearing overnight. And once you've been there, you don't have to wait until you experience it 25 more times to say, oh, yeah, I got it, So, I think that, I have had such an incredible long time admiration for the melodies and the words and how they're put together, the simplicity, the accessibility, the directness. I could go on and on.
Yes.
I just love their music, as most people who hum a Beatles tune will tell you. I love that song, even if they don't know some of the lesser known songs.
Right.
They love the song that they know.
Do you recall the first time you heard their music?
Yes, I do. It was I Want to Hold Your Hand. And I was in Washington, D.C. That was a big hit in Washington, D.C.
Sure.
And I didn't listen to a lot of regular pop radio, but the Beatles, and this is another fact that I hadn't even thought to mention in my conversations with people, the Beatles seem to have been able to get the attention of everybody. I mean, I came up, as a listener of radio music when you could hear black music on certain stations, David, mm-hmm. and other stations did not play it. Or you could hear people like Elvis Presley, who seemed able to, because of his association with black artists early on in his career, he seemed able to cross that line, and you could hear him singing Bebop-A-Lula and whatever else he felt like singing, even a gospel song, which was traditionally accredited to black
sure.
artists or black musicians. But there was the Beatles then came along and sort of changed that for everybody, because all of a sudden we were all going, I want to hold your hand, and it was very important to be able to understand the impact that they had in my community,
Yes.
with songs like the early songs, Let It Be, Golden Slumbers. Boy, I love that song. I wish I had added that to my collection. Golden Slumbers, so many songs, but always with a melody. And then when I dug deep into their music, I found, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. The love you make is equal. What is it? Which one is it? And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make.
Right.
Which I thought that's an incredible way to say love your neighbor as yourself. And I had grown up in church hearing that, so
wow.
I knew all about it. I just think they're absolutely, they've absolutely been blessed by the hand of that great, wonderful music muse in the sky, and that they have been given the responsibility of creating all of these songs and making them singable for all of us and listenable to all of us. And I just count myself in with that large number of Beatles fans.
And when did you first start doing any of their music in your own repertoire?
Well, when I was singing at Mr. Henry's, that was a perfect place to do songs, because another thing about the Beatles music is, and you being a writer may or may not agree with this statement I'm about to make, but one of the things that they are able to do is to provide opportunity for a lot of subtext, interpretation.
Yes.
So they would say something, and I would go in another direction almost completely, based on my understanding, my ability to do that as a musician and as a lover of words and literature and prose and poetry too. And when they said things like let's see, Let It Be, for instance.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were ushering us all into the Catholic Church. I did not feel that.
Right.
I didn't feel that at all. I thought that they were trying to explain or to suggest that there was a way of letting go of all the stuff that was holding you back, holding you down, keeping you from moving forward. And if you just let it be, which is a simple way of saying it, and it could, I guess if I were a psychiatrist, I could get really deep or deeply involved in the explanation and say that, letting it be is something that can happen at the suggestion of a song, but probably needs the help of a therapist, as well.
Okay, so next question is really, given your history with the Beatles, given your history with their music, I should say, how did you narrow down the selections? I mean, it must have been a really difficult task.
It was an incredible task. And I hope I made the selections that I want to hear the rest of my life. That's the most important thing to me. That was very hard for me to commit to. This is it. And so it took me almost 5 years to complete the project.
Wow. Because
I kept adding things and taking things away and doing things with the arrangements, with the ideas, with the musical ideas. And when I finally settled on something, when something hit me, I just let it go. I said, okay, that's it. The same way I was able, for instance, to hear somebody else singing Killing Me Softly first before I touched it.
Right.
And able at the same time to superimpose my voice in that song, if you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So that by the time I got off the plane from Los Angeles to JFK in New York, I had written out a music score, 5 lines across, whatever, just the top treble part, not the bass and all the other parts. And I had written the chords and the melody and the words for Killing Me Softly, because I absolutely heard myself singing, strumming my thing. And that's exactly what sort of kind of led me and guided me with the Beatles. If I could hear my voice singing Let It Be, and it wasn't difficult because I had done Let It Be at Mr. Henry's in Washington, as I started to say, and it had gained the approval of my small, dedicated audience, and those who didn't like it or who wanted to make a suggestion were free to do that. I've had a lot of influence at a personal level in terms of what I decide to sing and how I decide to sing. It's not all the telling of my own deep, personal story.
Sure.
It's not that.
Is there a particular song on here that give, from what you just said? Is there a particular song in here that does have personal significance for you?
A particular song that has personal significance, I suppose, Here, There, and Everywhere from my concert at Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
That has personal significance to me because I had met Joe Zawinul. As a matter of fact, I was traveling with Cannonball Adderley, and Joe Zawinul was his keyboard player. And he said to me, you can really play the piano. You should do some things, where you play. And that was a fresh experience traveling with them.
Yes.
I had signed with John Levy, God rest his soul, and I had started to work, with Les McCann. It was a group: Les McCann, Donny Hathaway, Joe Williams, Gene McDaniels, Cannonball Adderley, and myself. And we would travel around. Not all the time, all of us, but several of us of the groups would travel around and work. And I started playing, and I had already played Here, There, and Everywhere at Mr. Henry's, and had a fair amount of favorable response, so I decided to do that again. And I did it sort of as a last-minute selection at Carnegie Hall, because the Carnegie Hall concert was myself and Donnie, and Donnie did first half, I did second half, and then we did the last half together, which was a wonderful experience and very, very musical. We had a full band, full orchestra, and it was fabulous. But this was included on my portion.
Sure.
And I thought it was great, and I just wanted to include it in this project. I thought it sounded good. I had to go through a lot of political wrangling and tangling to get it, Right. But I stuck to my guns because I just felt that it was worthy of a larger number of people hearing.
And what was the most challenging song on here for you to record? For you, just challenging from a musical standpoint.
From a musical standpoint, let's see, what was the most challenging? I don't know, because all of them I have a familiarity with. Okay, so I would say, I don't know if musically challenging.
Okay.
Oh, darling. Because I always wanted to do that as a blues, and everybody that was associated with that was trying to talk me out of it. And finally, as I wanted to do it as a straight blues. I kept saying, no, but you guys, B.B. King, if you leave me, I wanted to do all of those things, and he, meaning my producer and other people who were involved, some of the Sony folks were saying, let's okay, so go to Ray Charles. I said, Ray Charles, yeah, I can't stop loving you. You mean strings and stuff. And I thought about that, and we tried it, but it didn't work. So finally, I have a real strong association with a guitar player named Dean Brown. I don't know if you know him or not. But Dean Brown lives in California and works with everybody and has his own, quintet of musicians, jazz musicians he plays with. And I said, listen, I want to do this, and I want just the guitar. He said, let me do it. I said, okay. And when he finally did it and gave it to me, he said, I can't wait for you to hear this. I played my ass off. I said, okay. And he surely did, So once I heard it with just his guitar and the original, we did the original keyboard and vocal with the keyboard, drums, bass. That was it. And my lead vocal. And we did that. And then I changed some of the vocal part, so that he and I would sound like we were talking to each other. It was really good. I enjoyed that part of the project, that song.
Yes.
And that wasn't challenging as much as it was involved. Nothing was really challenging. I did Come Together about almost 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I wanted to do it and make it like a universal song. I don't know if a lot of people got that, from listening to what I did, because I didn't hammer it away. I'm not so involved with He Come Grooving Up Slowly. He got juju eyeballs. He wasn't holy. I was more interested in people all over the world.
Right.
Come on. People all over the world. And I wanted young kids to sing that. And if we ever get a chance to do a video, I'll have them doing something wonderful, that shows that we can live together as people who love the Beatles songs or, don't get a chance to hear them at all. So I'm very happy with Come Together. I love everything on the album. Hey Jude wasn't so much a challenge as it was just giving in to the finalness of no other instruments.
Okay.
That's the way it started out. It started out with my voice and background vocals, you know. And then we added guitars, lots of guitars, and bass, drums, and then we took it all out eventually.
Right. Well, at what point did you consider it's finished? I mean, there must have been a point in which you said, okay, you know, that's it, I'm done, it's finished, this album.
I got too tired to do anything else. When I said, okay, I don't want to go in the studio. I'm through singing if I fell. I did it already. That's it. I'm through with Hey Jude. I'm through with that. I'm through with And I Love Him.
Right.
You know, and then I had some young kids come to me and say, I did Ralph McDonald's. There was a tribute to Ralph McDonald in Stamford, Connecticut, and Jimmy Buffett was there, and a lot of other musicians, fabulous musicians. And I was playing my album for Valerie Simpson, who was there as well.
Yes.
And she said, I love that. And so then my goddaughter, who's 18, came in and said, God, Mommy, what's that? And it was, I-E-I-A, you know, the And I Love Him thing, you know.
Yeah.
I said, she said, well, who wrote that? I said, the Beatles. She said, that's not a Beatles song. I said, yeah. So she said, I love that. Yeah. You have to play that. Let me play that for my friends. I said, okay. So, you know, I got little clues from situations, personal situations like that I had really finished. You know, there was no point in doing anything else.
Right. And I assume you felt really good when you finally said, that's it, it's done, I'm finished. And when you listened back to it, did you feel like you fulfilled on your objective?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I could have done a few more. Have you heard Here Comes the Sun? I
have not.
Well, but Here Comes the Sun was slated for a bonus track for Japan.
Okay.
And that's good. That's a good thing. Okay. I've been doing that for about 25 years.
Right.
That's my arrangement.
Yes.
And I got it together.
Mm-hmm.
One of the people on my staff was very depressed. He was having personal problems with his marriage, and he came into my room and he said, "Man, I feel like jumping out the window." I said, "No." He said, "I do." And although he didn't lift a leg and go in that direction, I said, "Please don't." I sat down to try to talk to him, and then my guitar player came in, Philip Hamilton, who's very spiritual, and we started talking to him. And then I just went into my living room in this suite we were in at the moment and started playing Here Comes the Sun. Except I didn't feel like saying, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. You know, I didn't feel like the fast up-tempo part. I felt like just, you know, sun, sun, here it comes. You know, just hold on.
Yeah.
I want to see the sun. I want to feel the sun, you know. And so I can't wait for you to hear that and tell me what you think of it.
Oh, great.